Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. We're continuing our reading of volume 1 of Sahih al Bukhari. We're in the book of Salah, the prayer, picking up on chapter 88. Let's begin. To clasp one's hands by interlocking the fingers in the mosque or outside the mosque. Narrated Ibn Umar, or Ibn Amr, may Allah be pleased with them both. The Prophet, peace be upon him, clasped his hands by interlacing his fingers. Narrated Abdullah that Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said, O Abdullah bin Amr, what will be your condition when you will be left with the sediments of worst people? They will be in conflict with each other. Narrated Abu Musa, may Allah be pleased with him, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, a faithful believer to a faithful believer is like the bricks of a wall, reinforcing each other. While saying that, the Prophet, peace be upon him, clasped his hands by interlocking his fingers. So, reinforcing each other, supporting each other. When you see someone slacking, you help to boost them up. When you see someone needing aid, you aid them. When you see someone being misinformed, you inform them. You can think of endless examples. Narrated Ibn Sirin, may Allah be pleased with him, Abu Huraira, peace be upon him, may Allah be pleased with him, said, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, led us in one of the two Isha prayers. Abu Huraira's named that prayer, but I forgot it. Abu Huraira added, he offered 2 rak'ah and then finished the salah prayer with taslim. He stood up near a piece of wood lying across the mosque and leaned on it in such a way as if he was angry. Then he put his right hand over the left, clasped his hands by interlocking his fingers, and then put his right cheek on the back of his left hand. The people, who were in haste, left the mosque through its gates. They wondered whether as-salah, the prayer, was reduced, and amongst them were Abu Bakr and Umar, but they hesitated to ask the Prophet, peace be upon him. A long-handed man called Dhul Yadain asked the Prophet, peace be upon him, O Allah's Messenger, have you forgotten, or has as-salah been reduced? The Prophet, peace be upon him, replied, I have neither forgotten, nor has the salah been reduced. The Prophet, peace be upon him, added, is that Dhul Yadain has said is true? The people said, yes, it is true. The Prophet, peace be upon him, stood up again and led the salah, completing the remaining salah, forgotten by him, and performed taslim, and then said, Allahu Akbar. And then he did a prostration, as he used to prostrate, or longer than that. He then raised his head, saying, Allahu Akbar. He then again said, Allahu Akbar, and prostrated a second time, as he used to prostrate, or longer than that. Then he raised his head and said, Allahu Akbar. The sub-narrator added, I think that they asked Ibn Sirin whether the Prophet, peace be upon him, completed the prayer with taslim. He replied, I heard that Imran bin Hussein had said. Then he, the Prophet, peace be upon him, did taslim. Chapter 89. The mosques which are on the way to Al-Madinah, and the place where the Prophet, peace be upon him, had offered salah prayers. Narrated Fudail bin Sulaiman, may Allah be pleased with him, Musa bin Uqba said, I saw Salim bin Abdullah looking for some places on the way and offered salah prayers there. He narrated that his father used to offer salah there and had seen the Prophet, peace be upon him, offering salah at those very places. Narrated Nafi, on the authority of Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, who said, I used to offer salah at those places. Musa the narrator added, I asked Salim, on which he said, I agree with Nafi concerning those places, except the mosque situated at the place called Sharaf al-Waha. MashaAllah. Interesting. Oops, there's a lot of unnecessary just say. See Hadith, this one. Okay. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar, may Allah be pleased with him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, while approaching Mecca, used to dismount at Tuwa near Mecca, and stay the night there to the morning, and then perform the morning Salah prayer. The Musalla, praying place, of Allah's Messenger was over the big hillock, and not at the mosque, which was built later, but at a place lower than that, over the big hillock. Chapter 90. The Sutra of the Imam is also a sutra for those who are behind him. Narrated Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him. Once I came riding a Shia when I had just attained the age of puberty. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, was offering the prayer at Mina with no wall in front of him, and I passed in front of some of the rows. There I dismounted and let my Shias loose to graze, and entered the row, and nobody objected to me about it. A school is let off to graze. It must be fenced in, obviously, so they don't run off. Narrated Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him. Whenever Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, came out on Eid day, he used to order that a harba, a short spear, to be planted in front of him as a sutra for his salah prayer, and then he used to offer salah facing it with the people behind him, and he used to do the same while on a journey. After the Prophet, peace be upon him, this practice was adopted by the Muslim rulers, who followed his sunnah, legal ways. MashaAllah. My bright Eid right here. Whenever I go through the text, I like to put small annotations. I encourage you to do that as well. Narrated Aun bin Abi Juhayfa, I heard my father saying, the Prophet, peace be upon him, led us and offered a 2 rak'ah Azur prayer, and then a 2 rak'ah Asr prayer at Al-Batha with an anaza planted in front of him as a sutra, while women and donkeys were passing in front of him beyond that anaza. Okay, so maybe if the anaza is there, it helps, because I remember we saw hadith that said you need to leave a space between you and your sutra that's enough for a sheep to pass. If a woman goes through it, it invalidates it. So maybe if there's that buffer zone of what this calls a naza, maybe that makes it okay. It says Sifat al-Bari, Volume 2, page 120. Chapter 91. What should be the distance between the person offering salah prayer and the sutra? Narrated Sahih bin Sa'd, the distance between the musalla, playing place of Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, and the wall was just sufficient for a sheep to pass through. MashaAllah, I just did that. Narrated Salama, may Allah be pleased with her, the distance between the wall of the mosque and the whole pit, by the side of which the Prophet, peace be upon him, used to offer prayers, was hardly enough for a sheep to pass through. Chapter 92. To offer as-salah, the prayer, using a harba, a short spear, as a sutra. Narrated Abdullah, may Allah be pleased with him, the Prophet, peace be upon him, used to get a harba planted in front of him as a sutra and offer as-salah, the prayers, behind it. Chapter 93. To offer as-salah, the prayer, using an anaza, a spear-headed stick, as a sutra. Narrated Aun bin Abi Juhayfa, that he had heard his father saying, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, came to us at midday, and water was brought for his ablution. He performed ablution, and let us in Dur and Asr prayers, with an anaza planted in front of him as a sutra, while women and donkeys were passing beyond it. Beyond it, not through the front. That's what it sounds like. So, not through it, but beyond it. Narrated Anas bin Malik, may Allah be pleased with him. Whenever the Prophet, peace be upon him, went for answering the call of nature, I and another boy used to go after him with a staff, a stick or an anaza, and a tumbler of water, and when he finished from answering the call of nature, he would hand over that tumbler of water to him. Chapter 94. Sutra for the prayer in Mecca and elsewhere. Narrated Abu Juhayfa, may Allah be pleased with him. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, came out at midday and offered a 2 rak'ah Zuhr and an Asr prayer at Al-Batha, and an anaza was planted in front of him as a sutra. He performed ablution, and the people took the remaining water left after his ablution and rubbed their bodies with it. Chapter 95. To offer as-salah, the prayer facing a pillar. Umar said, the people offering as-salah, the prayer, have got more right to pray behind the pillars of the mosque than those who are talking. When Umar saw a person, salah prayer, between 2 pillars, he brought him close to a pillar and told him to pray behind it. Oh, there you go. Than those who are talking. Narrated Yazid bin Abi Ubaid. I used to accompany Salama bin al-Aqwa, and he used to offer the salah prayer behind the pillar, which was near the place where the Qurans were kept. I said, O Abu Muslim, I see you always seeking to offer as-salah, the prayer, behind the pillar. He replied, I saw Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, always seeking to offer as-salah, the prayers, near that pillar. Narrated Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, I saw the most famous people amongst the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, hurrying towards the pillars at the Maghrib prayer, before the Prophet, peace be upon him, came for the prayer. You can almost picture this when you read these hadiths that mention architecture. You can almost visualize that. I can. I hope you can as well. Chapter 96. To offer non-congregational as-salah, the prayers, between the pillars. Narrated Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, entered the Kaaba along with Usama bin Zayd, Uthman bin Talha, and Bilal, and remained there for a long time. When they came out, I was the first man to enter the Kaaba. I asked Bilal, where did the Prophet, peace be upon him, offer prayers? Bilal replied, between the 2 front pillars. Narrated Nafi, Abdullah bin Umar said, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, entered the Kaaba along with Usama bin Zayd, Bilal, and Uthman bin Talha al-Hajabi, i.e., the one who keeps the key of the gate of the Kaaba and is considered as a servant of the Kaaba, and closed the door and stayed there for some time. I asked Bilal when he came out, what did the Prophet, peace be upon him, do? He replied, he offered salah prayer with 1 pillar to his left and 1 to his right and 3 behind. In those days, the Kaaba was supported by 6 pillars. Well, would you look at that? Malik said, there were 2 pillars on the Prophet's, peace be upon him, right side. Chapter 97. Narrated Nafi, whenever Abdullah entered the Kaaba, he used to go ahead, leaving the door of the Kaaba behind him. He would proceed on till the remaining distance between him and the opposite wall was about 3 cubits. Then he would offer prayer there, where the Prophet, peace be upon him, had offered salah prayers, as Bilal informed me. Ibn Umar said, "It does not matter for any of us to offer prayers at any place inside the Kaaba." Chapter 98. To offer as-salah prayers facing a rahila, mount, a camel, a tree, or a camel saddle, etc. as a sutra. Narrated Nafi Ibn Umar said, "The Prophet, peace be upon him, used to make his she-camel sit across, and he would offer salah prayer facing it as a sutra." I asked, what would the Prophet, peace be upon him, do if the she-camel was provoked and moved? He said he, peace be upon him, would take its camel saddle and put it in front of him and offer salah facing its back part as a sutra. And Ibn Umar used to do the same. This indicated that the one should not offer salah except behind a sutra. So here we got another example. I remember the saddle one. And then you get your camel and by a tree, right? And the more we see how you can do prayers in many locations, it really highlights how you have the capacity to do your prayers. And being able to pray with an animal in your vicinity, it's unique because I believe it makes you more rustic, more in touch with nature, instead of thinking you gotta go in this like building only. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind a very beautiful masjid. Even some of those Gothic cathedrals are testaments to the architects who made them because of their skills, and people wear their Sunday best. But I do think it's pretty cool, the rustic kind of earthy nature that we're allowed to have, and the smell of a camel, the behavior of a camel, and having a relationship with animals around, you know. Some people often lose touch just with animals. They don't even, some people have gone their entire life never being around a cow. Think about that. Changes the way in which you look at animals as well. Chapter 99. To offer as-salah, the prayer facing a bed. Mine is like that actually, because my bed is in the corner, and then when you turn your rug to face the Qibla, it's in front of me and my baby's bed as well. Narrated Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, "Do you make us women equal to dogs and donkeys? While I used to lie in my bed, the Prophet, peace be upon him, would come and offer salah prayer facing the middle of the bed. I used to consider it not good to be in front of him in his salah, so I used to slip away slowly and quietly from the foot of the bed till I got out of my blanket." It's interesting this comes up because I see her point, and there was this funny part where my baby's taking a nap and her bed is in front of me and I'm doing my prayer. I feel like, is this appropriate? Am I allowed to do this? But there isn't, like, I could have prayed in the living room, but if she wakes up and doesn't see me, she's gonna scream and cry. So if she wakes up from her nap and sees me praying, she just sits and waits for me to be done with my prayer because she could see me. And I wanted to pray next to her. I want to look at her. Not during my prayers, but it's like you're setting up, like, it's nice, it sets the mood, it's cozy, it's precious. But, and also when I had the baby basket next to me when I prayed, when, you know, those little Moses baby baskets, I'd put her in the basket and wrap like a little burrito and pray with her there. So I think she's just hinting at, like, if you don't have a whole lot of space, you know, maybe you're traveling and you're in like a hostel, or like there's just a bunch of beds around, I don't know, if you got too many roommates, in one of the old apartments I lived in back in the day, about 10, 11 years ago, there was, in one of the rooms was 3 men rented in that room. There was 3 twin beds. If you were to pray in there, you would face all beds. And if they were sleeping in it, like them not being Muslim, I wasn't Muslim at the time, obviously, but you know, you would have to pray around them. Some people live in some really cramped situations, refugee camps, places like that, prisons. You know, some prisons have like a lot of bunk beds, so they think this is helpful for people to think about, because women in prison would have to face other women, right? Alright fam, we'll leave it here for now, and I'm gonna go drink some black Assam tea. Yes, it's very good, inshallah, alhamdulillah, and enjoy the rain. And little one is still sleeping in her nap, during her nap, so I will upload this, get it going for you, and I hope you enjoy the other uploads I'm doing today. I'm still saving for the book holder that's like, it can go this way or that way. It has hinges so that it's more adjustable and it's more stable, and the wooden privacy panel, because there'll come a time when I'll do videos with the baby sitting and playing with her toys, and I want to be able to sit on the floor with the bookshelf holder that's very stable, and then have the wooden panel behind me while she learns. I did similar styles of learning with my eldest when I was taking classes at college, except I used her high chair and stuff, but I wasn't recording, right? I didn't have to think about a background. And she's already, the youngest is already really good at looking at her baby books and relaxing and reading, but I want it to be special in terms of like me sitting crisscross applesauce, right, and on the floor doing it, and she's just sitting there looking or coloring. It's something special. I got to do that in a different way with my eldest, but I had her own desk, and we'd bring her desk to the living room while I record, and she would just write hadiths or be doing some writing, practicing cursive, while I'd be doing the videos here. If you go way back, I have her say hi sometimes, not too much because I don't want to disturb her, and she would sometimes just be listening to me as I do the videos. So we would have this special moment of doing something together, right? She would hear me, and I want to be able to do that with the youngest, but I read to them before bed, and so they hold still and learn, but I'm not recording, right? So I want to practice with the background and have that type of special memory with her to utilize it, because both of them will be there, and there's got to be space, and with kids, you never know, they knock something over. It's got to be something durable and a bit weighty, so that it's not as like IKEA like to where it just breaks apart. You know what I mean? So if you want to donate $5 for that, little by little I'll get there, which will be great. Every bit is appreciated. I'm not monetized. Heavily shadow banned, man. They got my second channel. We used to get at least 100 views on, or at least 70. Now it's like, one of the videos from a month ago is like 37. It just doesn't make sense. And, you know, the slander campaigns still continue and stuff like that. So, you know, people troll, which is sad, but what are you gonna do? But none of them will have a discussion with me. They just spread slander on Twitter and X and WhatsApp and Telegram. Yeah, that's what that app's called. So, what are you gonna do? Can't do much. But due to that, I don't really have like the reach that others have. And some other content creators, they want to avoid me because I guess I'm just too controversial for some reason. I don't know. So, I don't have the same funding access they have. And for over a year, I didn't have even a donation page because it kept getting attacked by hackers. Hackers made me delete my Patreon and my Facebook and my old Etsy shop. You know, they ruined quite a lot with their attacks. And I lost quite a bit of money having to replace and rebuild everything. So, if you'd like to help me get that educational tools that'll be utilized, that would be great. I really would appreciate it. And so would my children. Because they'll be able to use it as well when we do like homeschooling type of things. Not that they're homeschooled, but when I teach them things that are schoolish at home. Take care, and if you haven't joined the blog, you can also join it and then just search in through the tags different topics, and you'll be quite surprised with how much is actually uploaded on there and all the different topics I discuss. Take care and be good. Eat your vegetables.